Next, let's queer up the U.S. view. The HRC dire warning. There are two Americas for queer people based on your state. There is a stark divide between states on the LGBTQ rights, as revealed in the Human Rights newly released State Equality Index. The report, conducted in partnership with the Equality Federation, assesses the LGBTQ plus rights records of all 50 states and the District of Columbia, unveiling a landscape shaped by differing policies and priorities. The index categorizes states into distinct tiers. 20 states along with DC, are placed in the highest rated category, termed Working Toward Innovative Equality. 5 states fall into the next category, labeled Solidifying Equality, while 2 states are classified under Building Equality. Alarming, 23 states, including Florida, find themselves in the lowest rated category, identified as high priority to achieve basic equality. Despite 2023 being the worst year on record for anti-LGBTQ plus state legislation, a few states made significant strides. Michigan, previously in the lowest category, moved up due to the passage of major LGBTQ rights bills. Arizona progressed from the lowest category to building equality. However, some states saw a regression, with Utah, Kentucky, and North Dakota moving down a category due to the enactment of homophobic and transphobic legislation. As we enter 2024 legislative session, in 36 states have seen the introduction of 325 anti-LGBTQ bills, many targeting transgender individuals. Advocates are stressing the urgency for collective action against these discriminatory legislation, emphasizing the need for public engagement in shaping a more inclusive future. The HRC report highlights that we have 2 Americas for LGBTQ plus people, half in a world of equality and half in places that continues to be difficult to exist. Yeah.
Unpack that. Unpack that.
It's a lot there. And of course, we're in a state that is at the lowest of ratings. And we just talked about it in this previous segment where, we have this trans issue where, you have to now identify as your birth sex. It's challenging. This is very, very challenging. I'm glad that HRC does this. It makes us aware of where the work that needs to be done. But I'm very sad in states like our state and other states where we continuously see our government fighting against the people when it's supposed to be for the people.
And against us,
And against us.
And it's alarming, but not surprising, And of course, our bestie Texas is just there with us, And it's all the transphobia. It's all the homophobia. That's what it is. I mean, there is no way that for us to achieve basic human rights, that's all we ask for. We're not asking for the world. We're asking for basic human rights that these 23 states are not willing to give us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found no news in this story. I wish I was more surprised by what I read in this story, but I was not surprised at all. The Republicans have a high priority to deny us rights. That's the category that they should really call it. But that said, and it's good that we take a temperature and we know where we're at on a particular spectrum of rights. But we kind of need to stop doing these stories or these surveys. We need to start taking action. Let's use these surveys to put together action plans. And I'm sure that's the goal, but we do a lot of these surveys, but the action plans are sort of convoluted. I don't know anything that any of our politically minded LGBTQ plus service organizations are doing for this year. Where's the organization? I can tell you there's not a lot of it in LGBTQ plus circles here in South Florida. We are a lost cause for this election cycle. Nothing good is going to happen for Florida.
And then Hunter's nodding.
Well, but we were talking about it in the last segment about the idea of getting out there and voting. All of these state legislatures in these 23 odd states that have these low rights for LGBTQ people is a result of the fact that we were asleep. Progressives were asleep at the switch with regard to school committees, city councils, and state legislatures. And the Republicans came in there over the last 2 decades and learned how to control all those things. And they have taken control of them. And we now have a country in which I'm not even sure that many Republicans believe what they're voting for. They simply are doing it just to get votes and to get this hardcore conservative core of votes that we have, whether it's race or whether it's gender or whether it's LGBTQ rights. They're simply trying to solidify that with this absolute bullshit that they're putting out over and over again.
Yeah.
And we see the results.
No, I can't agree more, but I do think that there's pockets of groups that are working together, but they don't get the recognition. I'm a part of a coalition. Admittedly, I haven't been that active because I've just been so busy with other things, but there's a Miami Coalition for Youth, for instance, which PRISM's a part of, Safe School's a part of. I'm on the listserv. They're constantly talking about advocacy issues, and they were just up in Tallahassee about a week ago advocating, and so there are these small pockets, but they're not getting the recognition. And perhaps they need to speak a little bit more loudly about the work that they're doing and they're attempting to do to advocate and lobby for our community. But I think we need to see more of that, right? I don't think it's enough of it, John, to your point.